All right, so the gay hunter.
And we're back
I
for
don't see the
another
gay
week.
hunter on here.
Sorry, guys, 1 minute.
Gay Hunter 69, right?
No, what the? Wow.
I'm just trying to figure out what your name is. And is it Gay Hunter 69?
No, it's not. Stop trying to be. Stop trying to butcher my. I can't even concentrate now. I did that on purpose, even though it's part of the joke. I did that on purpose, even though it's part of the joke. I literally went to my channel. I could hear myself too. I was like, okay, never mind. I need to either mute myself or remove myself.
The stream starts with "and we're back," and then I say, "Wait a minute, Gay Hunter."
And we're back for another week of the Anime4ALL podcast. As you can actually hear, I am not by myself. Hopefully, I didn't kill the podcast within the 2 weeks that I was doing this by myself. Real life situations in real life came up for him, and I took it upon myself to try to host this beast of a project by myself, and I think I did a good job. If I did, hallelujah. If I didn't, I am so sorry. We'll try to make sure that doesn't happen again. No promises.
You know, you can't spell beast without. You can't spell breast without beast. So you're one letter away from, something fantastic and special, in my opinion.
Oh well, he's back in rare form. Let me try boosting him a little bit just so his volume's a little bit more on my. Okay. So
Pirates are really good ladiesmen because they're a beast with an R.
Okay. Lost my train of thought. Wow. Okay. I feel like I'm back at home again. Okay. Thank you for that. We're here to talk about episode 5 at the request of Mr. Spear, and we'll be talking about My Hero along with this one. I think I mentioned in the last podcast that maybe we're going to just do Dragon Prince. Those plans changed as life does. As the song goes, life moves on. I think it's the name of the song. We'll come back to Dragon Prince when I come back. We'll continue, I guess, with this format is what you wanted. One episode per. Well, I mean, My Hero, we had no choice because that's one episode per week. But Dragon Prince, like one episode per week. I thought we were gonna probably be like doing Dragon Prince or just not doing anything next Monday because it's fall and Christmas. I'm guessing since My Hero is not taking a break, what?
If My Hero's not taking a break, I can probably make it. That's the day after Christmas?
Yeah, the 26th. Apparently it's not taking a break, which is weird. I thought they were going to, but I'm guessing that means they're going to take a break in the next month.
Japan DGAF, about Christmas.
No, I think they're still celebrating. It's just because it falls on a... We just rechecked it real quick, because I definitely did see that it said 24th, and I was kind of shocked at that. I guess they're doing that because like the ending of the arc is coming up, and I'm guessing they're trying to just not leave everybody on a cliffhanger. Blue ball them off that stuff. I had no idea. Season 6, 13. It says it's coming out on the 24th, so yeah, it's not taking a break. At least I don't think it's taking a break, at least till after the episode titled "The Final Performance." And that is 13 episodes, so I'm guessing we're going to see another 10. I think these seasons last 20 some odd episodes. 25. Well, after that, it's a minimum of 12 episodes. If they keep the amount of episodes, same. Which it looks like it is always the same, except for season 1. Every other season following that was 25. So we're expecting at least 12 more episodes to be on this. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna do you want to start with Dragon Prince or do you want to start with My Hero?
I'll leave it up to you. Last time we did Dragon Prince and I brought you to like 11:30 and you're like, I gotta stop at 12 and you ran through My Hero. So I will leave it up to you. I was really excited about My Hero, so I'd be great to talk about either.
Hmm. I guess we'll mix it up this week. We'll just start with My Hero, since that's currently on our minds right now, and then we'll just drop in Dragon Prince. I guess Dragon Prince is mostly just Erebos' backstory or just origin. For the most part of the episode, I think. If I remember that correctly.
Oh my god. So start Dragon Prince.
What?
I'm sorry, so start My Hero.
Okay, this episode, this is a continuation of the last two podcasts I've done already, talking about My Hero, and a lot has happened to reach this point. So much so that we're seeing what looks like to be Dabi. Hold on, let me just up real quick. It's a very interesting, I guess, like seeing like the villains are like, at least so far Dabi is like kind of making it easy for the villains to be winning. For the most part, he's already like revealed that his connection to Endeavor, his connection to the Todoroki family, what his baggage is. For the most part, I suspect there's more to his story that he's not letting out yet. Considering now, I'm guessing he's gonna be the next villain that we're dealing with. What?
Are we sure about that though, or has Dabi just got a moment to shine in the sun because of what's going on right now?
I suspect that he's the next villain. I would give reasoning for his why, but I'm not going to for spoiler reasons.
Okay.
Thank you, internet.
Dude.
Thank my friend in real life. What?
Shigaraki is in really bad shape, but he's not dead. And I feel like when your superpower is regeneration, and you've got the main antagonist of the show like in your pocket, that it's really dangerous to have you not dead.
I know he ain't dead. He is so far injured that it's going to take him a while.
Right.
They already keep bringing up that he isn't fully.
I feel like the only way to make sure that this guy is safe is to have him be dead. I mean, holy crap. He can put his hand down and take out a city.
I mean, honestly, I had no real proof to say this, but I feel like Dabi could do the same exact thing. Probably on a smaller scale, but I feel like he could still, like, light a giant place ablaze. I mean,
I don't think so.
Just based on,
he was
like...
getting tired by the time. Dabi was having a tough time one-on-oneing with Hawks. I don't think he's nearly as powerful. I think he could become as powerful, just like Shigaraki did, but I don't think he's there yet.
He's having a tough time fighting who? Sorry, you kind of like low for me. What?
You're saying that Dabi could take out a city? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like he could. I mean, like, fire spreading isn't that difficult, and considering that, from what I could tell, just based on what I was seeing, a lot of moves that like Endeavor was having a hard time just trying to, like, I mean, not hard time, but like it took Endeavor a lot of effort. Even his ultimate move, freaking Dabi just mimicked it pretty easily. It was kind of ridiculous. I mean, he is his son, so I mean, I guess there's some precedent for him to be able to mimic that move easier than his father. But at the same time, I don't even think Shoto can do that move. I could be wrong, but I don't think Shoto can do that move.
Can we talk about the fact that Endeavor is A tier and Shigaraki is S tier, though?
I mean, what about it?
Dabi being able to one-on-one with a very tired A tier does not make him an S tier.
It's already been said that Dabi has way more firepower than Endeavor does. I'm not sure how much firepower he does. I mean, half the point.
We know that though, because Endeavor, like, I know.
I don't think we knew that Dabi had was phenomenally much more powerful. At least not until now.
Like, Endeavor's getting beaten by Dabi right now, but he's also at his limit after fighting Shigaraki.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
Endeavor's
that.
like
I mean, even with Endeavor, I'm just talking like Endeavor at like close to maximum full strength. I mean, I'm just saying that based on I'm just using Prominence Burn as an example because that's his most powerful move. I remember specifically when Endeavor was fighting high end, it took him a lot of effort, and I mean you could hear him grunting as he is trying to pull off Prominence Burn. But when you look at Dobby, all he did was just clasp his hands together, almost like a light switch, and he just immediately set himself ablaze.
But would
I
you agree that like Prominence Burn is in this show is used the same way Kamehameha is used in Dragon Ball, where they can have big ones and small ones?
I don't get. Are you saying that the? Are you saying that Never wasn't using a really powerful Prominence Burn there here or something?
I'm saying that, for example, when Endeavor did his big shot, he said plus ultra, and then he said Prominence Burn. Like he was doing an extra powerful one. So I think Prominence Burn has levels. Like I don't think one Prominence Burn is as good as another one. I think like they all have different degrees to which they're effective. And you could probably do a Prominence Burn without like completely burning yourself out. In the same way that you can do a Kamehameha that's like 1,000 or 1,000,000 times stronger than a different Kamehameha, and they both just count as Kamehameha.
I don't think so. Because quirks don't work like chi. Each person's quirk works differently, and how the exhausted body is completely different to everybody else's.
That's true, but they do like a fire quirk, for example, burns you out, and I think you could have different levels of intensity for that fire. And that's why I'm specifically saying Kamehameha. Like I think the ability to exhaust and overheat him, if he uses more heat in the Prominence Burn, you know what I mean? Since his limit is based on how much heat he puts out.
I just saying that like Dobby was able to like I feel like to me it looked just as powerful as one of his power as most powerful Promise Burns. To me, it looked that powerful because it's like to me it just seemed kind of crazy that he was able to do that. Now I mean if Dobby does say later that like he was having a hard time trying to pull that off, which is like I mean he doesn't say that here. He might say that later. I have no idea. It just to me, for one, Endeavor needed to like grunt just to get Prominence Burn out for both times he did it because he rarely uses that move. First of
You
all,
make it sound like constipation.
it probably was constipation. I mean, like, for crying out loud, like I mean, like when he first did it, he needed time to get the excessive power out. Dobby, it just seemed like to me, Dobby was having fun. Like he's like, haha, I can do it too, and didn't get just to let it out. So I'm not sure. I guess how powerful. Maybe I'm hyping up his Promise Burn more because he didn't get a chance to use it. But just to me, it's like why? I get that he's his son, so maybe that's just basically what it is. Like, okay, I'm his son. He trained me before I went evil, so I should know how to use this technique. But you look at like his youngest son. I don't think Shoto can use it. I could be wrong, but so far Shoto hasn't shown an ability to use it. Now that could just be his like him trying to up to this point, you know, he wasn't accepting Endeavor as his father. Which, by the way, right. I wanna say too that it's kind of funny as Dobby came out with all this information. It's weird that the wording that Shoto has been using towards Endeavor has changed. He is no longer called him Endeavor. He's been calling him Dad. It's actually hilarious that changed as soon as that happened. But I guess getting off of that tangent because we're talking about the recent episode. The episode begins and we get a confirmation. I've been wondering this myself. Best Genius is not only alive, he's also here trying to stop Gigantomachia. And I didn't understand his quirk that well back then, I'm guessing, because it isn't threads, it's just fibers. And that could mean steel fiber or anything, because he had steel fiber cables apparently that could like he's able to control. I thought that was weird.
Since you've done the lore and you have a lot of spoilers and things like that involved, I have a serious question for you.
I mean, I don't know what you think I know, and I don't think I know what you think I know. But ask away.
Did we ever find out who the second best genist is?
What?
He's the best genist. That implies that there's several genists, right?
No, that's just his name.
You can't be the best at something if you're the only something. I mean, it's an obvious statement. So the dude had 2 words to identify himself with. And one of them he picked was best.
This was never stated in anything that there was another person with that name. It's like saying All Might. Who's the other mites then? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Right, you wouldn't call yourself Best All Might. Best Froppy. You wouldn't do that because
just where this is going. You just wanted to somehow get a Froppy line in here.
No, I just wanted to talk about best genist and how many genists there are.
He's the only one. He's like, that's just his hero name.
The best one.
It just not be funny because I mean, seriously, that's a weird thing to nitpick at. Versus just his hero costume, which is just a jean jacket, literally with jeans going up to his eyes. You just have to pick out his name.
Because it makes him look like a ninja, and it gives him more jeans to work with.
Are you being serious?
I think his costume is cool, but
no, not that. I'm talking about his name.
No, I'm not being serious.
I guys want to make sure because that was a very weird thing to even say or even like to respond to, and I couldn't come up with anything. I couldn't come up with anything funny. I was struggling there. I really was struggling there. But Best Genius is back, and he doesn't say it here, but I'm pretty sure he's number 3. It's kind of weird that like he shows up and like the heroic "We're Saved" music starts playing. I thought that was really cool.
He has a little bit of a All Might callback that he's been injured in a previous battle, and you see blood coming out of his nose, and yet he's like becomes kind of a beacon.
Well, I don't think he's just at full power yet anymore. I mean, at least not right now.
Or at least not full endurance.
It's interesting that he was able to hold down Gigantomachia, even though Gigantomachia has been already stated to have been tired by the time he got there. But I thought it was interesting. I don't remember seeing him panting.
He's definitely earned his number 3 spot, like prop though, because like Hawks did something really good at number 2, and Endeavor, you know what I mean, is obviously doing his part as number 1 as best as he can. So it's nice to see the number 3 kind of come in and kick some butt. We've pretty much seen a really good portion of the top 10 now, right?
Yeah.
And then
do you know what was that body inside the bag that Hawks brought to Dobby? Because Dobby says that it was a real corpse.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Do you think, is it possible that Twice was more involved than we think?
No, because... Well, no, Twice would have still been alive. But no, doesn't Twice's doubles have like a time limit?
No. Just an endurance limit. They're more fragile.
I don't know. I would say that Twice would not be that dumb, but then that's already been stated that he would not dumb. He would have been gullible.
He could have even talked like one of his clones into it, separated regular Twice.
And that's also true, actually.
He would have just needed to talk any one of Twice's clones into the situation.
But here's the thing, like, do Twice's clones... I know they appear human, but do they have a pulse? Like...
Yeah, they're separate. If they didn't have a pulse, that would also prove that it was dead, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I don't know how Dobby confirmed that it was a corpse. Because, like, as you said before, when you like give enough damage to his clones, they just disappear into mud. How would Dobby?
That's a good point.
Not Dobby, but how would Twice be able to mimic a corpse?
That's a good point. So then, who in the good guy's side has an ability that could do that?
Well, I thought about this crazy idea, and I mean, it's just okay. Stick with me. Stick with me here. So Best Genus, his whole thing, at least what we saw up to that point, he's able to control threads and fibers and whatnot, right?
Uh-huh.
What if that thing was a doll, but it just like it was like somehow best genius? I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not sure like what I'm not sure on what level his quirk works. So
Uh-huh.
like it's just one of those things. Maybe he could have sewn together because I mean it was shown that he is a clothes maker. Who's to say that he's not able to not only do that, but he's also able to maybe on a rare occasion he's able to make a clone of himself just based off of his thread.
Who was that Class B guy that had a dark ability that made him feel like he was more equipped to be a villain, but he stayed a hero? But he was Class B, and then like I think they transferred him to Class A at some point, and he became Eraserhead's like protege. What was his ability? Oh, that was the manipulation one, right? Where you could manipulate, brainwash
You talking about
people.
the guy with the purple hair?
Yeah, that was brainwashing. That's not going to be able to do it. I was just trying to think of somebody who would have like sort of a morbid ability, but or like an illusionary ability or something like that. But that's not him. Does anybody have an illusionary ability or
I
a
mean, there's
cloning?
Cammy, but it that's more of a on a I think hers works on a visual level, and again like I don't know what like I've forgotten like what like her specific illusions do. Now, I mean, I don't think it could be an
That's right.
illusion because like again, I think like Dobby said that I don't. I mean, I'm taking from his words. So he hasn't said this, but it sounded like to me that he was able to confirm that it was in fact real and a corpse. I don't think well then I guess you could put an illusion over a dead body and just pretend it's him.
Or you could just make the dead body the illusion too. But
I was like you could put the illusion on the dead body
we haven't
and
seen her like have a role in this, and it seems like everybody's showing up to play a key role into this, and that's the whole speech of Genus in this episode, where he's like, everybody was a thread and a bigger piece, bigger tapestry, and blah blah blah, and look how genie I am, and you know what I mean. But like he does bring up the metaphor of like everybody being a thread in the tapestry. So it's I think they're trying to maximize as many people involved in this as possible.
I mean they need as
That
many
class
people as
is
possible.
definitely on the table of possible people to include. So I don't know if Emmy's ability was is it Emmy Emmy?
Hmm? Emmy? Erie?
What was her name?
Don't the girl with the horn?
No, the girl that Cammy.
We haven't seen her, and I don't know if I mean, she's in another school altogether. I know the UA is the one who's here. I don't think her school's involved.
Glamour. Cammy's quirk allows her to cast visual and auditory illusions by puffing a smoke cloud or cloud-like substance from her mouth. These illusions can mimic a person, as seen by her illusion of Shoto, as well as cover a wide area, which is shown with her creating a visage of an aurora. Couldn't she just put an illusion over, like even like a mannequin? It just what the only requirement is it doesn't have a pulse, and it looks like Genus, right?
I guess, but the other thing too is like, is there like a limitation of how far this illusion can be from her? I get that it's a puff of smoke, but there has to be some like limitation towards that.
I mean, honestly, Cammy could have been Hawks as well, right? If she can create it over a wide area.
But could she manipulate? Oh, I'm not saying she couldn't. I'm just like I'm asking these questions because I mean it would come up as like, can she manipulate the illusion so fine tuned to it makes her look different, but then it makes something else look like something completely different.
This is it's a stretch. Everything I'm saying right now is a stretch. I just don't know.
I mean, man, him making Best Jean's making a fiber doll and giving it to Hawks is a stretch as well. I mean, I don't like nothing said that he can't, but at the same time, it's like nothing saying that he is able. Because I mean, the thing about it, he could sew it together a doll, and as long as it was real enough, and like Dobby didn't like there was something that he could prove to be his dead body or not, because Dobby was sure that it was a corpse. When he did show, he was like, "I thought you were dead. Like I saw your body." I was like, first of all, I was like, "Why would you trust Hawks after you said you didn't trust him to begin with?" Like, I feel like that corpse would have been a dead giveaway. Dead. giveaway.
Well, Cam is another character that might be dead because we haven't seen her since her identity was stolen.
I think they found her.
What?
I feel like they found her because we saw her again during the retake of that hero test because
That's right.
Bakugo and Shoto failed it.
Maybe I'm not doing as well as I thought then, but it would have been cool.
He had a fair point, but I was feeling what the heck was that noise?
My computer telling me that I was typing the wrong thing.
Oh. But with that, like, we have Best Jeanist, like, at least for right now, holding down Makia, and the League of Villains is freaking out about like Shigaraki being kind of down for the count. You're just yelling at him saying, "You gotta do something! Like, you haven't destroyed anything yet." I was like, really? He kind of dismantled an entire city almost in one shot. I think he destroyed quite a bit there when he first woke up.
Mm-hmm.
But we also apparently learned that Gigantomachia is only able to use his full strength when he's given it a command. That's an odd nerf. Like, if it had to be real. That's an odd nerf to a character, I guess, that big and that powerful from what we can tell. Because nobody can stop, not even Mount Lady can stop him. And she was his size. Let's see here. He tells Makia.
I don't know. That's like one of the only like theories I can come up with at all, and I know it's not that great. I just don't know.
I don't know why she would get involved. I mean, she's in a rival school. Rival schools wouldn't help out their rival.
Yeah.
I think the circumstances that they would, but I don't know that this is count one.
Every single hero in the world is in this, though. I mean, let's be honest.
I don't think there's any kids from that school, though. I think, isn't it UA is the only one who involved their students?
That we know of, yeah. It would have been so cool. I think.
So, I mean, that situation with the dead body and Dobby, they weren't on the battlefield at all. So, I mean, it wouldn't be too far-fetched. Maybe, Hawks knew of her and called her up for a little. I don't know. But the thing is, like, how far can those illusions get from her before, like, they, stop working? You say wide area, but I'm not sure what wide area means. Does that mean it can stretch up, like it within height? It looked like they were on an Eiffel Tower when he gave them that duffel bag, didn't they?
The Eiffel Tower.
Not Eiffel Tower, just a tower. Just a tall tower.
Oh, okay. Can you catch me up a second? I think I lost you.
What?
Can you catch me up on what you're talking about for a second? I think I lost you. I lost track of what we're.
The stream died? No, I was just talking about like the Best Jeanist is like Shigaraki is giving Gigantomachia his command to destroy everything. Gigantomachia himself, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a weird nerf they gave him, is that he can't use his full strength unless he's given a command. I just thought that was a really weird nerf.
Well, I think it makes him like the Nomus. You know what I mean? It's a sign of something that looks like maybe they were working on it with the Nomus too, right?
The other Nomus, I mean, they were fighting without being told or anything. I mean, at this point, we already know he's the first Nomu, period. I mean, at that point, it's already kind of confirmed and given. I just thought
he was the first of the Nomus, but he doesn't count as a Nomu. He's just like. There.
Did he say he doesn't count as a Nomu?
Well, in the episode where they were talking about him, they said they based the Nomus on him. He's more like a prototype than an official Nomu, I believe.
I mean, if he's based off a Nomu, I would call him a Nomu. I mean, we've seen the various variants on those things. I mean, they come to the point where now they were able to speak. I mean,
yeah,
Makia himself is kind of just a Nomu, but he's just a smidge bit more intelligent. And by smidge bit more intelligent, I mean he's capable of making decisions only given off of one command.
He's not like that black demonic look that every single other Nomu pretty much looks like, right?
I don't know. I would probably compare them because I mean those other guys. I mean, yeah, they're stronger for sure, but and they're smaller. But I don't know. It just seems like they both kind of had to share the same type of intelligence. Because for I can tell, they weren't able to 100% like get in. Weren't able to 100% give them intelligence or free will. This is the one thing they removed free will from the equation. Is what it looks like to me. Because Gigantomachia still has free will. He just chooses to
Right.
listen.
He's sort of the opposite. Like they can think for themselves, but they have no free will. He has free will, sort of, but he can't really think for himself.
I think he can
He's
think
like
for
the other
himself. He
side of
just chooses not to listen to anybody but his master. That's literally what's
right.
happening there.
He doesn't think for himself. He wants somebody to think for him. However, for whatever reason, he doesn't really move unless somebody um, tells him to. Even if it's by decision, he can think for himself and refuse an order, which is something no Nomu can do. But the Nomus, even though they're able to think for themselves and have intelligence well beyond Gigantomachinas that we've seen so far, they can't say no. It sounds like it. So far, we've seen only absolute loyalty from them. So it's sort of like the other side of the coin.
I get that. I guess before we move on from this, I wanted to bring something I didn't bring up, and I feel really bad when he first was brought up during like Kirishima realizing who he was. So is it confirmed that Gigantomachia can change size?
It looks like he can power up and bulk up. I don't know if that would count as a full size change, but you see him grow like.
But another thing is like when Kirishima was in middle school and along with Ashido when they first ran into him, he was like the size of a 6 foot man. Like he was not that big when we saw as he is now when we saw him back then.
But they've done all sorts of work on him. Like I don't know if that is enough.
I
You know
guess
what I
that's.
mean? Like they
But I mean,
infused him with
the Hulk
different
changes
quirks and
size
stuff
when
like
he gets bigger. I know it's not gigantic proportion size.
but
I'm
the
just
Hulk
saying,
didn't
like
get like
like
quirks
his
like that and modifications externally. He just got one, and he was the Hulk. Is that what you're saying? Like the Hulk? I'm not even sure why the Hulk would come into this.
what I'm saying, like I would almost like. I mean, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird to me that like even with my modifications, I don't think you could change somebody's size like that. Can you? I mean, it seems kind
I
of.
think
That
he's
seems
just
like
like
that seems kind of drastic. Like I mean,
I think
how
it's more
small
like
he was.
powering up.
Hmm?
Oh, when you're talking about that, no, I think that's fair. I think that like the first Nomu we saw probably didn't look like that as a human being before it started. The first Nomu was pretty big and weird sized, and I think we've even haven't we even seen a couple Nomus that could change shape a little bit.
I guess no. I'm just saying that Makia um if like what I saw Kirishima react to was true, and the way Ashido kind of like panicked after hearing his voice for the first time in years, it just seems kind
Mm-hmm.
of weird that Makia, when they first ran into him, he was just human sized. Now, I mean, if it was genetic modification that just got him that big, that seems kind of weird that they were able to genetically modify him to the point where he just grew in size. Um, but I mean, we saw him transform, and it just seemed like to me maybe he's able to move his body around. Like or his skin
Yeah,
is just like is able to be transmuted, well not transmuted, but he's able to change density. I mean his bottom jaw literally like covers his almost covers his entire face when he I guess goes full power. But I just thought
that's
his
fair.
size
I
was
guess.
different from so many years ago. It's like the size difference was dramatic. Um,
I
he
really think they were just working on his everything through quirk manipulation and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure they have if they have a regeneration quirk and they have all these other quirks they've stolen. It stands to reason that they have quirks that like have done some other stuff. You know, it's like the quirks that have um, increase your size and stuff like that. I mean, there's the guy. There's we've seen a guy with a quirk that gets himself bigger. It was the one of Deku's first opponents. What was the guy's name? Where he kept getting bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger as he got bigger. The muscle guy. Hello?
No, I'm still. I just saying, like, I don't think I consider it the same thing because, like, I mean, yeah, his muscles got bigger for sure, but I don't think that was him increasing in size. At least not in my mind.
Well, what I'm saying is, for example, like that, the fact that he expanded himself when he bulked up is not unlike that quirk. But there's also quirks that do change size, and quirks that make you big in the first place, like Mount Lady. And it just stands completely to reason to me that that they would have been able to find a quirk that would have made him big. Like if they took Mount Lady's like quirk and put it in him, then he's big, and that's it. We've got it taken care of. So they just have to get like a quirk, and he had that collection of thousands of quirks that he like curated over all those years. He would have just needed to infuse him with one of those quirks, and we'd be ready to go.
No, I get it. I just saying it just like his change in size growth was just dramatic. Like, I mean, it was surprising that even Ashido was even able to remember what he sounded like, because I think it was a long time ago. It was really weird that she was able to recognize him. I guess being traumatized, you still. I mean, someone that traumatized you would remember that trauma for the rest of your life. But I didn't think it traumatized her. Clearly, it did. Right. And speaking of that whole conversation with then Kirishima throwing that anesthetic into Gigantamakia's mouth, it definitely did work. Several hours later, apparently.
How did you feel about that? Like that it took all that time? Was it just? It wasn't just the thing that knocked him out. I think he cut into his power, but I think he was like.
I thought it was all right. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna come back later, but I guess thinking about it now, it makes sense. One of my complaints about after they did it was like, how long, like, was this supposed to immediately have put him to sleep? Because the way Momo was reacting after it didn't was like, oh, it didn't work. And I thought
it was going to work immediately, and I think it's just sort of a boon that it worked at all. I think it probably cut into him and made him a little sluggish, and then
because what I was like,
endurance didn't hold up as long as he would have liked to because of it.
So I remember saying that, like, I remember actually saying specifically that, like, like, based on his size, you would like, did she make the like anesthetic like enough of the anesthetic because of his size? Because like the guy was big. On top of that, like after he did it, and after he plunged him into the mud area where Mudman had made that entire pit, he just got bigger and got out. So like at that point, I feel like even if there was enough anesthetic to knock him out, it wasn't gonna work because he just got bigger. And based on what I was hearing, it sounded like he was just tired, and like he was tired enough that it kicked in at that exact time. A lot of people probably call it a cop out. I mean, it probably is.
I don't think so, because like we knew what I was worried about through the whole thing is how they emphasize that he can just go for like an unlimited amount of time. And
luckily he doesn't. He has stamina. I mean, Spinner says like, oh, I guess his stamina isn't infinite. Which is interesting to decide to bring attention to that, but okay.
But what I mean is, I think it neutralized his stamina that he would otherwise have like unlimited stamina, and it didn't take him out, but it limited his stamina so that he can just go for a month straight like he did with Shigaraki.
Yes, that's true. I mean, like, they went for that and they didn't stop. Okay, but no,
I
he
think
went to sleep
one
though.
chunk out of the brick that is him, and that was the chunk that he has. He no longer can just go forever. I think it was a little abrupt how he suddenly ran out of stamina. It was just like, oh, I think that was like.
Well, I mean, look at it like this. Look at it like this, though. It takes a command, and he's able to go immediately. So I guess the abrupt shutdown just made sense. Because, I mean, he could just abruptly get up and go after a command. I mean, literally, I think Spinner specifically said that it just took a command, and he just...
Like, the ability thing is what was kind of odd about it. That he just like stopped. You know, the personality thing makes sense to me. He's just like that. You know,
I think is like, isn't his quirk just he's able to turn? I forgot the name. I forgot what his quirk was. Like the one I did his innate quirk. Something about like turning something into energy is what he's doing. He's turning something into energy. I just forgot what it was.
Yeah, that's right. I forget what it is.
So he mentioned his innate quirk, and I forgot what it was. Something about like cheering or something like that. I guess for him is like he's able to, morale. He's able to turn morale into power.
Into physical energy and stamina. So that makes sense too. If he converts morale into physical energy and stamina, wasn't like Shigaraki like down at that point and unconscious?
Well, I mean, when he said to destroy everything, it wasn't like he was out completely. I think he was still there. Yeah, he wasn't all the way there.
I mean, he was like, I could see how his morale would be cut into, and how like being drowsy would cut into his morale.
Is it his morale that he turns into energy, or somebody else's morale that he turns into energy?
His, or yeah, it's his turns morale. I think it's his morale. Okay. But if you think of it that, it could either way works, because the heroes' morale is pretty low at that point too. But I think Deku alone has enough morale just by being conscious. You know what I mean? To power Gigantomachina. So I think it's his own morale. And what he was probably seeing was a vast wasteland. He was seeing that his leader was down and like badly burned and beaten. And he was seeing that like he was feeling tired. And if you want to bring the Hulk into it, that was how they in one of the Marvel movies, that's how they made the Hulk. Like they gave him an anesthetic and then like told him the sun's getting really low, man, and he was like turns back to Banner finally. So if you want to bring the Hulk comparison into this, like they literally did the same thing in one of the Avengers movies. So it makes sense, like that would calm him down too, because like the Hulk is not powered by morale, but he's powered by like an emotion. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that making you drowsy would still your emotions enough, and having the source of his morale be unconscious and no longer giving like commands and not seeing a lot even to do. Like at that point, what does he do besides protect the master? There's not like a lot left for him to even think about or do. So it doesn't not make sense.
I guess as I was about to leave off on Gigantomachia and talk the rest of us, I actually just had an interesting question. You're talking about how Deku has enough morale to, like, Gigantomachia isn't inherently evil and he's not inherently good, right? Like he's just a weapon that they're just pointing, that the evil people are just pointing in a direction and telling him to go. Like, and all it really does is takes beating him and for him to listen to you. It'd be funny if somebody managed to beat him on the good side and he just listened to them. It'd be the funniest come up of some of the film. I know it wouldn't happen.
Funny, except like it's not the nature of a good hero to use that if they got it. It'd be kind of awkward.
I don't know. Gigantomachia is a bad guy on the inside. He's just listening to whoever he believes is his master.
Right. I'm just saying to use him as a weapon like that, to weaponize his like this thing with limited will and just make it your slave. That's just not what I see it. What I see them willing to do. I think they just put him in a cell.
But the thing is like it's not like Gigantomachia doesn't want to do it. I mean, it'd be different if like it like Gigantomachia like is like I guess like comparing him to like Sloth, for instance, like from the Fullmetal Alchemist series. He did things against his will for the most part because he didn't want to do anything, period, or somebody who just doesn't want to do anything, period. You know, it's just like, to me, it just seems like he just wants to. He just does whatever who he believes is his master at the time. Now, I'm not saying that like he isn't inherently evil. I just like, it just seems, now I'm thinking about it, it's like, it doesn't seem inherently, he's just like a pet, like a dog or something like that. You know, you just tell him to sit, say goodbye, whatever like that, and he's happy.
Would you be willing to call him like equally moral to like Stain? And that he's sort of a dumb, he despite his intelligence level, he acts like a fanatic?
I mean, I say he's a fanatic, but I wouldn't really call him morally. I don't think he has any real moral in him, considering he is an experiment. But I just like, I mean, yeah, I get the whole point of like controlling him, maybe nobody on the Gusai would want to do that, or even like I mean, they could like get him and tell him that you're free, like to do what you want. Now I don't know how you respond to that, but if he does listen to whoever beats him in a fight, then to me it's like, okay, you could beat him and then free him. Now, because he's also killed people, they probably wouldn't free him. They probably put him in jail and let him sit there. But I just thought about that as weird because I just realized that that's essentially all he really is. It's just that he's a weapon and he's a controller, and that's all Shigaraki really is to him. Anyway, that's all.
But if he chooses to follow instructions, and that's like almost like his religion, then he has a fanatical dedication to serving whoever he decides is worthy.
I just thought it was just kind of interesting. I just thought about that. I was like, huh, what would happen if somebody from the good side would actually get control over him? I mean, it'd take a lot to beat him, considering it took Shigaraki 3 months. I think. I forgot how many months it took him, but
yeah, he fought him for months.
I mean, All Might probably could do it if he has full power.
Well, we hope so. All Might would definitely, it would be a shorter fight, I think, if All Might fought him. Because you wouldn't have to like whittle him down to nothing.
I guess beyond that, get away from Acid Best Genus manages to like after Gigantic Market falls to the anesthetic. I guess actually how much time actually passed? I guess an hour? I mean minutes to an hour, however long it took because he was running through every town possible. We have Dabi confronting Shoto and they're having their family.
I would say closer to hours than minutes because they had time to like get the news out and get organized and evacuate cities and things like that. So if I had to pick a time range, I would say more like minutes than hours.
I guess I'm just going by anime time. Sometimes those they'll tell you how much time actually passed and you be in disbelief. But I like let me see this conversation between Shoto and Dabi, and it looks like they really matched, but then again, they both had fights in between them fighting, so it was kind of weird. We're having their talk about like who's, I guess, like how I'm gonna bring Endeavor down and prove to the world that he isn't a hero. I guess another thing too, speaking of that, Endeavor, it's interesting that as this is happening and as like Endeavor, as Dabi is belittling Endeavor, and Deku of all people stands up for him, saying that I'm looking at the Endeavor now versus the Endeavor that you saw in the past. Like he won't, like I guess he's not gonna forgive Endeavor for the things he's already done, but it's like he's only looking at the guy who trained him to get stronger. I thought that was interesting, in that also as you're talking about how Deku makes people better. Apparently Deku giving Endeavor that kind of pep talk literally boosted him to the point where he was able to give a, like before, Makia fainted to the anesthetic, and Endeavor was able to give like him a good like clean hit to the face. That was actually kind of interesting. Like that, wow, that's interesting. That whole like, Deku being able to make people better, kind of. Like he was able to give like. That speech gave Endeavor a little bit more energy just to be able to get like one more attack out before he's out.
Yeah, but then the one of his attacks was used to hit an ally, that girl with the hovering powers, right?
No, that was Dabi. Dabi farted out a blue flame.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Flame,
the flame was blue.
Hato, oh no, Endeavor. You did it. You burned someone again, says Dabi.
That's Dabi being, that's Dabi. I mean, that's
burned
like,
again by your flames.
That's when Deku says that is not Endeavor's flame, that is your quirk.
Hang on, let me see. Output level 100. Quick surge. Oh yeah, the fire is blue, so it would be Dabi.
But Dabi's saying everything he's doing is in response, is all because of Endeavor. But Deku stands up for Endeavor, even though kind of he's right.
So he's making Endeavor feel guilty for
I mean, he's already successfully done that just by showing up and letting him know that he was Toya. I mean, honestly, that literally shut Endeavor down. Which I gotta say too, I brought this up in the last podcast about when we talked about the episode there, but it's very sad to see Endeavor like shut down like that. I mean, you can definitely tell he was shocked. That makes me wonder, like, why didn't he bring about what?
Guilt is his weakness. He beat his wife one too many times, and now he just feels really guilty.
There has been no proof or talk that he beat his wife.
You know, you need to believe women when they speak about abuse, okay?
I don't think she said it. Did she ever say that he beat her?
She literally went nuts. He beat the crap out of her.
What?
He breeded her, and then he like abused her.
I feel like there's more to this story than we're getting. Now, I'm not gonna sit there and discount anything that happened to her. She definitely went crazy, but she also was the one who burnt Shota.
Wait, we're gonna focus on the fact that she's crazy and not the fact that she was driven crazy? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna victim blame now. You've already not believed the woman.
What?
And now we're just gonna go straight to victim blaming.
I'm not saying she didn't go crazy for a legitimate reason. I'm just saying that she's also at fault here, and I feel like there's more to the story than we're like being told. And I guess I'll say this right now. I had a friend who didn't tell me anything. Tell me there's more to the story. There's more to the story.
If he's having sex with her and having children just for breeding purposes, for the quirk, is that rape? Does that count as rape?
I mean, I yes, I mean that's involuntary and stuff like that. But I'm just saying that I had a friend who told me he didn't tell me anything really about the specific. He just told me there's more to the story than we're being told. There's like way more to the story that makes sense. About what was going on with the family. Just want to put that out there. He didn't tell me anything because there's more to the story than we're being told. Now, I'm not saying he's not at fault here for all this, because I mean, Toya is already an example of like why you probably shouldn't have children, or two, make sure that child you thought is dead is actually dead. I'm still very confused about what he was praying to in that ashtray. Obviously, that was not his son. Whatever he was praying to or praying over in that shrine, because he's right there.
All I'm saying is his family pretty much doesn't like him. So,
I mean, you can say that, but I feel like Shoto's turning over a leaf on him.
Dabi doesn't like him. The wife went nuts. You know, it's kind of.
I don't know, like something about Dabi, just like a man. Okay, he doesn't like him. Why is he smiling all the dang time around him? He is the only. This is like, and I've been paying attention to this too. Dabi smiles only around Endeavor. That doesn't seem like the actions. Well, he's probably a psychopath, but I mean, that doesn't seem like the actions of a guy that truly hates that guy. Again, I think there's more to the story. It seems creepy to me. I feel like if you're gonna like snap around somebody who probably hurt you in the past, you don't smile. This is my feeling. I don't think you smile around the person that ruined your life.
Maybe she became the Joker.
I'm talking about Dabi, not his wife. We don't even know what she's doing right now. I don't even know what she's feeling right now. Just probably seeing her son being her first son become a villain.
Maybe he became the Joker. Maybe he's the Batman who laughs. That was a pretty good story.
Nah, it's something more warped with him. Make sure the letter says, "Are you crazy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm crazy." Well, I mean, guess. And apparently there's more to the story they were being told. I feel like Dabi's making this seem worse than it actually is, and he can because he's the only one that's there for a lot of what happened to him. Whatever happened to him, whatever the heck that was. I guess we can I skipped over a couple of things. Pretty much, we go to another battlefield, and like a lot of the other heroes are dealing with the no moves. We talked about this. Apparently, Nomu switched directions and go Shigaraki. As this is all happening, apparently a Nomu managed to sneak behind Best Jeanist. And when we think that Deku was unable to save Best Jeanist, a hero that we've missed for a long time makes a reappearance. And he's got his quirk back. That is right, Lemillion has returned. And I never thought I had missed hearing him yell power so much. Like, it is nice to see that he's got his power back. I don't think he was on a time limit though.
Lemillion was like freaking fantastic. I was so happy to see Lemillion come back.
He's like, I never thought I'd miss hearing power being yelled, but like, it was nice to hear that. You know, and he's very happy. I guess he's not at 100%. But he's like getting back there. He said something that kind of made me think. It's like he said like you know, it's not nostalgic feeling when he got his quirk back. It's like at first I thought maybe he meant that okay, he didn't need to relearn anything, but maybe he hasn't got full control over his quirk yet. Again, though he's showing a lot of finesse like he did before, going in and out of things. I'm willing to bet maybe I just misunderstood what that was said there, or they mistranslated it.
What I didn't understand about it the most with Lemillion is like it just seemed like a lot of like, have you ever seen the Spider-Man movie where like Spider-Man gets thrown through like brick walls and stuff? It was one of the generations of Spider-Man.
I mean, yeah, what about it? I mean, Lemillion.
Lemillion, like his abilities to go through surfaces, and he's found creative things to do with it and stuff. But like, he looked like he had a lot of durability and punching power and things like that weren't necessarily shouldn't necessarily have been connected to anything he could do. So it was really interesting to me.
I mean, he was shown to have this kind of like stuff beforehand when he lost his quirk. I mean, what was his name? Chisaki? Overhaul? Yeah, Overhaul. Like, Overhaul got rid of his quirk and he overall thought he was done. And then all like, I mean, granted, you know, I mean, a lot of these people are humans anyway, but he was shown to be really quick, regardless. You know, he didn't need his quirk. He apparently at some point just like built up his physical strength. Now, granted, a lot of this seems superhuman, maybe to a point, but maybe it's just him. Like, I mean, he didn't give up training, from what I can tell. I think he was still training, but just beyond without the quirk, because he still wanted to be a hero, quirkless anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I mean, if anything, maybe he was just training. I mean, Shigaraki got superhuman endurance just from like fighting Gigantomachia over and over again. So, who's to say he couldn't?
Should we take a moment to talk about our other major hero in this episode?
Back to Deku. We're just going to continue on here. We're going to power through.
No.
We're going to
just take a moment.
We're just going to power through. We're going to power through. We're going to power through.
Pretty please with cherries on top.
We're going to power through. Lemillion.
I want to talk about Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were talking about.
I know. It was a bait and switch.
I will. Oh, I guess we'll talk about Baku a little bit because I do want to bring up something.
It was such a weird time for comic relief. I'm gonna be Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite.
Well, the thing is, you say comic relief. He was being serious.
I know he was being serious, and that's why it's funny.
But I hope they shorten that name down because I've been going through my mind, and this has been happening for episodes and episodes. I'm just trying to figure out what, like, besides Grenadier, which I thought was a really cool name. What would be a cool name? And then he kind of just
the name that you thought was cool?
Grenadier. It's just grenade and whatever else added on there. I thought because the grenades, but like I like the name Dynamite. It actually really fits him, which is strange that he would add that name on with this very long, all these like, which is what he's done with his name is he's added on like adjectives and just stuff that like I guess accentuate another word in front of it, which is really weird. He even adds in God for no reason. But I think Dynamite, if he were just to drop everything else and just name himself Dynamite, that would actually be freaking cool considering how much he likes the All Might anyway. And he pretty much is just explosions, like dynamite, for instance. It would have been kind of cool to actually have that on there as a combination, as an homage to his hero, the hero that he's admired all this time, and the fact that he's got explosions. I honestly thought Dynamite was a really cool name, actually, but unfortunately, it got this entire long unnecessary name that even Ida actually obliges him with. I thought that was cool that Ida literally said his entire name.
When you do something that's too lame for Ida, that's when you know that that it's time to slow your roll a little bit.
But Ida liked it though. He even said it.
No, Lemillion's the only one that liked it. Ida called it lame.
No, Ida called it long name. Hold up, where is it? Everybody was talking about the only people who said it was lame outright was like the villains.
No, that's not true. All right. Genist calls it. Hang on. Genist called it childish.
That's not lame.
Hang on. I said Genist called it childish.
Yeah, no, that's not lame.
Hang on. I'm trying to get back to the point. I went too far back. Genist calls it childish. And Ida calls it long and violent.
Not lame.
And then Compressor and Spinner call it lame. You're right. And then Lemillion's the only one that said it's fun and good name. And then Bakugo doesn't. The only one Bakugo takes issue with is him saying he likes it because it's fun.
It's
not supposed to be fun.
I'm just saying, Ida literally obliged him by saying his entire name out. He didn't have to do that. I thought that was funny, and I just took that as Ida accepting it and Ida liking it. Now, maybe that last part I added on, but I mean, at the same point, why bother saying his full name like that? It doesn't make any sense.
Ida's all team player. Of course, he's going to accept it.
I hope he chops off those unnecessary words and just goes with Dynamite. That'd just be cool. To me, that is his hero name. I don't care what he added on there.
Yeah.
To me, Dynamite just works better for him, and it works way better than Grenadier. What I came up with was lame. That actually works out for him. But I guess before we move on here, one thing I want to bring up is that
you don't want to call him Cockhead?
No, you can call him that. I don't care. I'm gonna go with Dynamite. What I wanna bring attention to specifically, actually, in this,
I'm gonna call him Floppy because he's not as good as Froppy.
What I'm gonna bring attention to here with Bakugo is I think we're seeing sparks, of his quirk evolving. I say this specifically because Bakugo brings the attention that for whatever reason his explosions are faster for whatever reason. I still don't understand that wording, but they also look different. After he saved Deku, later on, his explosions look very weird. They look pretty. I guess I know you just want to hear that. His explosions look really pretty, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you know that the first thing that's going to happen is that Sparkle Hero guy that's ambiguously gay is going to be really, really complimentary with him, and that's going to take Bakugo off.
I mean, that's if he's able to control whatever was going on with his quirk there. It only seemed to be happening because Bakugo is on his last legs, so he's digging into something. That's why I say I feel like his quirk is either evolving or it's awakening. One of the two. I was literally gonna look it up to see if there's anything specific going on there, but I said, you know what, they're probably gonna show something that I don't want to see, and I just gave up. I wasn't gonna look at it. So whatever's going on there, I feel like I just want to bring attention to it. I feel it's important, considering that Bakugo says it feels different. And I try to pay attention to a lot of things he says, specifically because he's gotten better at speaking about people. He's not there yet, but I mean he's getting there. We have Dabi and Shoto fighting. We brought up Lemillion. I guess I'm not speaking of Lemillion in contrast, well, not contrast, but to bring it along with Lemillion. Eri seems like she's getting to the point where she's able to reverse the damage that those bullets that she has made against her will to take quirks away. So I thought that was kind of cool. I brought up specifically the spears. Like, it's cool that at least it looks like Aries back in the saddle now. It looks like, I guess, if there was ever
That sounds so dirty.
Aries back in the game. Well, I guess quote unquote. I mean, she only used her quirk on Lemillion, so who knows like what's going on there. There might be some repercussions towards her rewinding Lemillion's quirk. I have the strange suspicion that there's anything really showing this here, but I will say specifically when they did show her like trying to use a quirk on Lemillion, it kind of cut away after she says, "This is the reason why I wanted to learn how to control my quirk." So there might be some side effects to her using that quirk on a human being. Now I say 75-25 probably. That there's 25 there's a side effect, but I say that maybe it's only temporary, but who knows? This is kind of weird that they would have her do that and then cut away after just showing us that he got his quirk back. But he doesn't say anything that makes me believe that he's on a time limit in terms of his quirk still being.
I think it's permanent, and I'm very curious if they end up healing Midoriya too.
Well, that's the thing. She was only rewinding quirks being removed. Deku's damage wasn't done by a quirk being removed. It was done by a quirk. I don't know, though. It makes sense that she'd just be able to rewind damage. Who knows? I mean, she was doing it when he was on her. When she was on his back. That sounds even worse. But so I guess maybe it's like he could, but at the same time, what's to stop Deku from like damaging his arms again? I don't think like that's a good idea, and Deku probably wouldn't do it. Maybe he would. I had no idea.
Deku's arms are going to be worthless after what he just did. Like, he absolutely did enough extra damage that he's not going to be able to use his arms after this. So he really needs Eri to heal him at this point.
And we'll see what happens. Maybe what's her name? I forgot the nurse with the kissy face.
Oh, she's not going to be able to do it. She already said, like, if you damage your arms like this again, you could permanently lose use of them. I think he gets some help from this point. I don't think they just end it.
Do you think the main reason why Eri was shown to be able to do that was shown that she's able to rewind the damage that was done on Deku's arms?
I think that it was, yeah. I think that Eri's job is to get his arms back and together, and then that's going to make him a more complete All Might in the long run. Because right now he's fighting, literally, he's down to his tongue right now, and the teachings of the wise and powerful Froppy.
Yeah, here we go. I knew this was coming. I saw this. I saw this literally in the episode, and I'm just like, Daka's gonna freak out. He's gonna lose his mind.
I woke Grayson up. I was cheering so loud when I saw him like break out of the teachings of Froppy.
In all fairness, it wasn't even that Froppy taught him anything. He just happened to notice like she was doing that. He's like, I wonder if I can do that. And
I haven't been that excited since Gohan learned how to dodge. Finally.
When was that?
When he was fighting Cell. Piccolo tried to teach him how to dodge, and Goku tried to teach him how to dodge, and he didn't dodge. And then he was fighting Piccolo, and he was fighting Cell, and he went Super Saiyan 2, and then he dodged. And I was like, that's it. That's the moment. That was like the coming of age moment. Not that Super Saiyan 2 moment, not when he like used the final attack on Cell. The great moment for him was when he learned how to dodge. And what I think there was that the Green Namekians, turned it around for him and like taught him the fundamentals of dodging.
Okay, we're gonna stop him right here. He's going on his greenest power tangent here. Deku does use Black Whip from his mouth, which I thought was interesting. But
in this case, his great teacher is Froppy, and Froppy is his Piccolo, and she's taught him wonderful things. Except in this timeline, Froppy is more powerful than Deku, as opposed to Gohan being more powerful than Piccolo in the long run. But
it was interesting use of his Black Whip. Didn't think he could do that, but apparently he could, which is weird. But I guess as long as there's a power emanating from your body, I guess you can have it emanate from your mouth. That was just weird. I can't. I got nothing else to say about what happened there. That was just weird. He's finding more useful. He's finding more uses for Black Lip. This is bad. Now he's like, I can damage my arms and my legs, and I can still move around. Haha, take that. It's really all I got for that. Is like I got more uses. But the battlefield now is like crazy. It's all kinds of heroes around. Like heroes are helping, and Jenny and everyone's helping. Best unit does not take damage from the other attacks, along with Nedri Hato, I think is her full name. Do we ever get her hero name? I feel like she never said what her hero name was.
Hato?
Yeah, I don't think she's ever said her hero name.
Wasn't it Bubble Girl?
I thought Bubble Girl's a different hero. Hold up.
I thought her name was Bubble Girl.
I guess it could be. Now you think that's what I saw those words, man.
I'm gonna try to check without spoiling anything for myself.
Well, Bubble Girl's a different hero. She's like the girl with the blue skin and everything.
Oh, her super name might be Do-Gooder. Believe it or not. Let me make sure. I want to check the format of this wiki. But if the format is the way I think it is, her name is literally Do-Gooder. No. Do-Gooder is their alliance. In other words, they're good characters. Then yeah, she doesn't have a nickname. Nijiro-chan is like the closest we got. Interesting.
That's weird, considering that I think her two friends have names, Emilian and the other guy. I forgot his name.
They do. One of them's Sun Eater and the other's Emilian.
Yes, it's weird that she doesn't have one. Or if she has one, she's never said it.
Or she just hasn't picked one yet. We just saw Bakugo pick his perfect one.
Yeah, but she's like on her way out of high school, though, from what I understand. She's a senior already. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna drop whatever it is. If she has one, she doesn't, whatever. As I thought, I just thought about that. That's actually kind of weird. I don't think I've ever heard her say her hero name. Or maybe she's going by Halo-chan, who knows? With that, anything else of note besides? Oh, I guess like as this whole these conversations happening, as we get to the end of the episode, essentially, Best Unit wraps the villains up in his fiber binds, and it causes Compressed Man to have an out of body, well, not out of body crisis, but he's like, dang it, I need to be able to touch it, his the fibers to be able to compress them. Pretty much, Best Unit like does a blackout bind, which I guess is to squeeze it's harder to knock them out or make them unconscious. But apparently, Compressed Man this doesn't work on him too much. He's actually still able to keep conscious, and the episode pretty much ends. But we know apparently in the next episode in the preview that I guess he's the one that breaks everybody free, based on the way everything was looking in that preview. But that's about it in my disconjointed ramblings.
Yeah, man, the preview is packed with a lot of stuff. Like the preview is pretty intense. We do see that it's going to focus on the stubbornness of Compressor Man. But you also see a moment where Spinner sees the gun that has the deleter rounds in it.
I did not see that.
Did you notice that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it's at 2235. I'll send you. Oh, I can't screenshot on Discord because of how it works. I mean, I can't screenshot Crunchyroll, but if you look in Crunchyroll at 2235, you'll see Spinner looking over at Shigaraki's bag or whatever. Like, it's just the deleter round gun is like laying next to him, and he's like Shigaraki's under the best G laying right there, and Spinner's like looking over at it. And Spinner's done like really nothing in a very long time, so it makes sense that Spinner could be like capable of some real danger finally. Spinner should also be like full endurance and everything else. Like he's not injured or wounded in any way. So him and Compressor, I think, are the two villains completely on their feet at this point, isn't it?
Hey, so Spinner's kind of been beaten up though. Like, I mean, not beaten up, more like I need to see what you're referring to, because 2233 was still a part of like the ending sequence. Is it like?
I wish I could send you the exact screenshot, but I know even if I screen share with you, Crunchyroll's going to black it out. But I definitely 2235 or so. If you look, they just show a quick little.
I would believe you. I mean, I believe you, Bentley, because he was like. I mean, he is like literally in the fiber binds. He is literally binded up with Shigaraki. So I mean, if there is in fact a deleter round in there, he would be able to see it because of where he's at.
He sees the gun, like he doesn't necessarily see a deleter round, but why would they put that in the preview or even in the anime itself unless there was a deleter round left? We know there was a few left and he's only shot one. He said there's not many left. He didn't say there's none left.
The gun is like Shigaraki's hand, isn't it?
Well, Shigaraki's passed out. So
I don't know. I understand. Like he sees the gun. I mean, I guess you could say he sees his hand, but yeah. I mean, gun hand doesn't really matter. Same words can be used.
Next to. It might be in his hand or whatever, but like it's laying next to him, and he's passed out, and they're both laying on Machina. So, I would say one way or the other, like that's what's going on there. We also get a quick little glance at President Mike seeing the fight, and Bakugo on the ground and down and out. But I've been hoping to see President Mike, even though I don't know. I know he's not a big deal, but like he's the only hero. He's the only major prominent hero that I can think of that we haven't. That's been in this series recently that we haven't seen like really get a chance to shine.
You really do not like sound waves in anime are sometimes the most powerful thing ever. They can knock out even the most powerful people just because like sound is like you can't protect yourself from sound.
But if I could also note, the next episode is called Final Performance. So flashing President Mike in the preview, and I'm calling it Final Performance. It could be Compressor Man for sure because he's obviously a performer and that's part of his shtick. But it also would apply in a very fun way to President Mike. So it's hard to say that President Mike is not part of the reason.
Well, President Mike, he calling it President.
President Mike. I keep thinking president because like he's the president of the school, like the school president.
No, I think that's the little animal guy that has a issue with humans.
Yeah. Also, you're right. Also, you see like some sort of light flashing all over in 2341 or so, like flashing all over the back of Giganto Machina. I don't know what that light attack is, but the only one I could think of that might have done it was President Mike.
Well, I guess before we move on to Dragon Quest, when you said, I guess, Final Performance, I was like, there is something specifically about President Mike that he brings up, like, they bring up one time, and it's only ever brought up one time, and it's, during, Headphone Jack and, Animator, or whatever the guy who has the ability to talk to animals and get them to do whatever he wants to do, during Nerd Test, they bring up that thing around his neck as a support item, to help him control the variations of his voice because he's apparently his voice is very loud. So
he's kind of a Black Bolt. Where Black Bolt has a voice power too in Marvel, and if he talks, he has no control over it. So if he talks, it's a weaponized thing, and it's extraordinarily powerful. So it's kind of like it sounds Black Bolt inspired.
I guess I didn't know that. that voice modulator thing is like allow him to direct his voice, and it's like that seems like it's supposed to support him to help him control it. Like I wonder what would happen in that clip that you see him running around. Does he have that thing around his neck?
Let me take a look.
Because this is specifically around his neck. It's like it's always been there. I never thought about it, but when you could take that thing off?
That would explain that weird attack vibe over Machina's back. Like it looks like a lot of the next episode, everyone's just fighting on Machina's back.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, it's a big back.
Yeah, I mean, baby's got back for sure, but you know, it's still interesting. All right, so if we go frame by frame, Endeavor looks like he's down for the count. Like you can see his eyes, and there's no people in them. He's laying face down.
I mean, he was already out when he laid into Gigantic Machina, so I know he was out.
Yeah, so they're emphasizing that he's out. He's still got fire, and I think he's probably still alive, but his eyes are whited out, so that means he's unconscious. We see the key fighter and the stupid water hero running around in the city, so they're completely out of the fight. President Mike looks really, really pissed off. He does have the support item on.
Okay.
And his eyes are doing this weird like bullseye look, where there's like a spiral and a dot in the middle.
That's just him like panicking. That's just like they do in anime.
I've never seen that specific anime. And then you see Compressor running around the back of Machina, and you see a flashback where someone's like in some sort of gi or robe and talking to him as a boy, like in sort of like a Jedi teacher and student kind of look with a big light in the background. And it's not what you'd expect from Compress, because he's an older villain, and I don't get troubled childhood vibes from him so much as like I would have expected him maybe to be brought up in a circus or something like that, because he's a performer. Then you see a generic hero with like a gun for an arm or something like that, attacked by some sort of electric looking yellow blast thing, or it like misfired, and he's out. And then you see another generic looking hero attacking a Nomu and doing lots of damage to it. Then you see Bakugo probably passed out on the ground. And then you see Spinner looking at the gun, and they could have been in his hand, or it's hard to tell if it's in his hand or some sort of satchel on his leg or something like that. And Spinner looks surprised. And it's at the exact moment it says everyone's motives are mixed together, which almost makes me wonder if Spinner turns, because he's really about Spinner is really a Stain loyalist, and who believes that heroes aren't worthy, and he's seen a lot of worthiness. So I wouldn't be blown away if Spinner turned sides. But I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary now, because the tides have turned a little bit and everything's even. So I don't know. They're desperate enough to need Spinner, because they just had some pretty good backup with Lemillion and some of the seniors that came in to help and stuff like that. But that's the entire preview. But it's a very packed preview. Like every single moment of the preview.
Something about Spinner that's kind of irked me.
The next episode's called Final Performance. Like every episode of it. Every piece of this sounds like it's a big deal.
Yeah, I guess before we, I agree with you. I just like what I want to say before we move on to Dragon Prince, because like we're like coming up almost 2 hours here. Something that's kind of always irked me about Spinner, and this is kind of about when they were doing the whole the villains were having their crux, get awakened and evolving and whatnot, and some villains is discovering some abilities that their quirk probably had that they didn't know. Or in Bubuguara's case of him coming to terms with his what happened to him as a kid. Spinner's quirk. Now, I mean, I'm not sure what would have happened if his quirk awoke or changed, but it seemed kind of weird to me that Compressed Man, they didn't do that to Compressed Man either. So I guess Compressed Man already either he's already achieved all he's going to be able to do with his quirk, and they're just gonna have him do what he was going to do here, whatever that is. But it seems kind of weird that Spinner is like, he's so far just been the guy that's been a part of the group that's done nothing. He's just been there. it seems kind of weird anytime they do focus on him. It's always about like what he's thinking or like what like uh where he came from a little bit, like what he's like. They show that apparently as a kid he was always made fun of for the way he looked because of his quirk. That's
Yeah,
about it. They never showed anything about like his real motivations, other than like
yeah,
he's there for Stain, but it's clear that Stain is like motivations aren't really 100% like full front here. He's kind of sideways Shigaraki. Uh,
mhm,
so I don't know. Like it just seems kind of weird that he's done absolutely nothing up to this point, and all we've ever seen him do is just work this war that he's got in his brain. Like it's funny you brought the. I guess like it's funny that I said something about the Hulk. It's kind of it'd be hilarious. I mean, granted, it'd probably be dumb, but at the same time, I find it hilarious if maybe his quirk just like if it did awake, it just made him rabid and crazy, like a monster kind of. I guess kind of on the way the Beast worked in terms of like how he became the Beast at first, and it was kind of like a monster transformation that he went wild at first, and then got his pieces together, his marbles together after the
yeah.
fact, and was able to be himself in the Beast form.
I think you're
Um,
thinking more like I think you're combining Beast and Wolverine there, but yeah. But Wolverine is the one that got his claws and then went wild for a while and lost his mind and then was brought back. Beast is the one that got his Beast form. There might be a lot other versions of the Beast origin story that are different than the one I know, but I thought Beast was always pretty level-headed.
I could have sort of sworn it was like almost like a werewolf thing, but it wasn't. But
Yeah,
I guess when he kind of went wild for a little bit, it wasn't for long. He didn't really do anything. He kind of like got everything back together in his brain. I thought maybe not. I don't know. This is nowhere to be seen with Spinner. So I don't know. Like to me, it's like if anything, I honestly not that I hate Spinner, but I like Twice more. I feel like they should have killed Spinner. That's just me. But yeah, like I feel like there's been nothing lost with Spinner dying. But maybe there's something more the creator has going on with him that we don't know of. Because again, he hasn't done anything. He's just kind of been the guy in the group. Did I'll follow you? I mean, I agree with your philosophy, even though I have this other philosophy in the back of my mind that I'm trying to follow.
yeah. I think that Spinner is very primed to be a turncoat, and turn to the side of good. I think because his whole philosophy is based on being hurt when he was younger and having a skepticism about the power of heroes. I think Spinner like literally being carried through this storyline, like in more ways than one, and then like seeing all these heroes showing up and doing everything in a fantastic way. I think it'd be very reasonable to see Spinner like having his doubts about the purpose of becoming a villain, having never really done anything awful, having the gun in his hands, and maybe Shigaraki wakes up. Shigaraki's not done. He was Spinner was watching, like he was tied up with Shigaraki, and Shigaraki's laying there going, "It itches, it itches." Like he's talking in his sleep. Shigaraki is passed out, but he's not done yet necessarily. I don't think they would have him do that if he was completely checked out. So it makes sense that like I've said already, like Shigaraki can't be allowed to live in his current form. Like you can't let someone live who can touch the ground and completely wipe out a city, and then you're just getting started. So if Spinner's
I
betrayal
still
of
like to
his
say I don't think they're
team,
gonna kill Shigaraki. That's
if
just my
Spinner's
belief.
betrayal of his team is to use the deleter on Shigaraki, that would be enough to maybe have the heroes accept and forgive him, because he hasn't actually done anything. Like Spinner, unless there was that one fight with the bunny team that I can't remember if he did anything where he actually fought heroes, but other than that, he hasn't. It's almost like Bakugo's fought with heroes more often than Spinner, and like I think that if I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I think he's a prime candidate for using the deleter gun on Shigaraki. I don't think they're going to do it on Dabi. I think Dabi, as you said, is probably almost definitely going to become the next villain. But you can't have the next villain without knocking out Shigaraki, and I think Spinner using the deleter weapon on him would
I
be a
mean,
really cool way to like do it.
yes, you can. I mean, Shigaraki is literally like he's still got to lick his wounds and whatnot. I mean, to me, Shigaraki's gotten better at dealing with loss and whatnot and knowing what to do next. I don't think just because he's this powerful, it doesn't that he can't be a chess piece left on the battlefield. Like usually, a character this powerful, they usually leave him for the final confrontation, much later down the road. I don't think Shigaraki, like, because he's just powerful doesn't mean he can't exist. He just probably won't be involved with anything, for a while. He'll probably just send whoever out.
Yeah.
You got characters like Frieza, for instance. I mean, Frieza didn't deal with a lot of the fighting till like Goku confronted him. Well, no, not correction. So Goku showed up and then started like beating up on his subordinates, and then him getting in the way of Frieza's Dragon Ball wish. Frieza's literally was powerful.
I mean, there's two types of enemies. There's a political enemy, and then there's like three types. We've seen intelligence intelligence-related powers, like hacking or listening or something like that. We've seen political power, people that have influence, or the ability to inspire, like All Might or Stain, for example. And then we've seen people with actual direct power, like All Might again, or any of those other heroes like Giganta Machina or something that just is all physical power. Knocking out Shigaraki's powers would not necessarily knock out. First of all, we know even without his powers, he's extremely strong, physically enhanced. So powers or not, we've seen him what he's like when his powers are raised. He's still pretty much a match for anybody. That being said, I think that Spinner could still use the deleter on him, delete his current overload of powers. He could still remain a relevant character, still somehow escape, and make space for Dabi to be the main hero. Because like even Stain was like, and you know how I said A tier and S tier, like Stain's probably B tier. Like Stain took out a lot of low level heroes, but when he got in a fight with a bunch of students, like even though one of them was really good, like we know Deku could wipe the floor with old Deku at this point. You know what I mean? So I would say Stain, like as infamous as he was at the time, is probably a B tier hero. A villain as far as like fighting power goes. Stain's real ability was inspiration. That's what made Stain special, not his ability to fight. He was beaten in an alleyway.
No, I get that, but I just don't think they're gonna get rid of Shigaraki's powers because like this is not information I know. I don't think. I feel like the final confrontation is always gonna be Deku and Shigaraki. Like I think you said before. I just think at this point, like Shigaraki's pride is gonna go, and go away, lick his wounds, try to come up with a better plan this time.
Again, if Shigaraki gets away, his story isn't over. They still have the scientist. Shigaraki is still formidable, even without powers.
Honestly, I don't think they're gonna get rid of his quirk, though. I don't think
the scientist could work on a way to reverse the quirk. We still have a hero out there that can fix a deleter round, and I think that the storyline could still stay relevant. But he could have his powers muted, and then the threat becomes even more real because they understand what his potential is. But all they would need to do is kidnap Eru again and make her like heal him, and then or process her ability, and like they would lose their best healer, and he would have a way to become a threat again. So if the scientist makes it, and they've been very careful to save the scientist so far. So from a writer's standpoint, like I still think that the deleter could be used. Who else is going to get hit by the deleter besides Deku? Who would not actually get hit by it?
It'd be dumb, but they could have Lemon get hit by it again.
The guy who what?
It'd be dumb, but I mean they could have Lemon get hit by it again.
They could, but then he just get healed. Like the drama is out of that. It's got to be used on someone that can't just be healed by Arrow to be very relevant.
I still don't. I mean, like I said, I understand your logic here, but to me, I'm just saying, I don't think they're gonna use it on him. I think Shigaraki is like to me, he's so far beat up. Even anything he could do right now, it
Mhm.
probably do a little damage, but it probably won't do that much. I don't think he has the energy to try to use decay right now. Anyway, the guy's like literally. I said before, he's concussed. Well, not concussed, but like he's like in a half awake, half a dead state.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like they've already done everything necessary, in my opinion, writing wise, to make it so like okay, his
Mhm.
regeneration quirk, while it's still there, while it's very overpowered, for whatever reason, it's not kicking in as fast as it should. And they even brought this up too, that for whatever reason, like I mean, Endeavor shouldn't have been able to burn away at him that fast to make his quirk slow down. So it's like something else is going on there entirely. I think right now like Shigaraki is so badly hurt, like it takes several arcs, and Dabi could just become the
Shigaraki's
next.
had a pretty. To be fair, Shigaraki's had a pretty bad day, my guy.
I mean, yeah,
His
he got
powers
type
were
of he
incomplete.
got type of everything. But I'm just saying that right now, like, Shigaraki is at this point where, regardless of
Mhm.
how OP as you say he is, and good he is OP. But I'm just saying, as OP as you say he is, like all the damage that was done to him right this after coming out of the cocoon for the first time, and
The
like
only reason that they even held, the only reason that Shigaraki didn't just like destroy the world is because the second he came out, he was surrounded. First of all, he was brought out early and unprepared, and second, he was brought out when literally every single superhero in the world was at his doorstep. If those two things had not been in play, he could have just come out and just wreaked devastation, and the heroes probably wouldn't have. They knocked out all. Dobby knocked out all the communications, and they wouldn't have had time. And also, they had the hacker guy that could have knocked out communications. And with anything resembling a plan, um, and the heroes not being like the most ready they could have possibly been for an unexpected situation like this, he would have just straight up won. Like Hawk saved the world. So if he was allowed to escape with his current powers, then he would, the second he emerged, if they didn't know where he was and they weren't ready for the attack, he would just decimate. He could, if it was, if the offensive was on his terms and he didn't start out immediately at a disadvantaged defense, where like half his people were already wiped out, everything was in scatters, and he wasn't. He was still taking a second to figure out his powers in the beginning. Like he was still trying to learn his potential, and he was immediately met the number one hero. Immediately went to fight against his arch rival, and like a big pile of other ones and everything else. Like if he hadn't had all of that happen immediately, he would have been too powerful and he would have succeeded. If they allow him to escape in his current form and recover when he comes back, unless he's taken some sort of permanent damage from all this stuff, which it sounds like maybe he won't. Like in his form, he's too powerful to make a good story.
but
He's just too
you sound like
powerful.
he's gonna come back almost immediately. It's gonna take a while, and this I mean I'm pretty sure
Even
like
if it takes a while, who's going to be able to meet that? Like if he comes in and attacks on his own terms, and he can level cities, even if he needs a cooldown period after that, which he wouldn't need much of. Every
I
time he
mean,
attacks, he
Deku's
levels
the
two
hero
or
of the
three cities.
story. He's the main character. They'll have him catch up to him. It's usually how all this
But
works.
they can keep him if if Dobby if Dobby gets away from all this with Compressor Man's help, and Spinner betrays Shigaraki and uses a deleter on him when he comes back. Shigaraki is still strong enough to hold his own. They save the scientist because we know that Mike is showing up, so Mike is bringing the scientist with him because he was in charge of watching him. And you have Dabi and Shigaraki and Compressor all together in a situation where like the scientist is and they can get him and get the hell out of there maybe. And then he can still lick his wounds, he can still get better, but he doesn't have world destroying powers right on the onset. which makes for a more interesting story because he can make a comeback of some sort. The scientist is there. They can work on they can have a whole plot line around rescue against re-kidnapping Eru. The scientist could recover some of his technology and start rebuilding his powers. There's a lot that they could do from that position without the story being wiped out. Plus, they have a hacker on their side now, and he could do all sorts of stuff like run intel and figure out where Eru was and stuff like that. They have the right pieces for a really interesting comeback arc and a really unbelievable second attack from Shigaraki in his current form.
I still think that even they could still do that with his powers still intact. I'm not saying that they're going to do this. I just I don't think so. I don't think that Shigaraki's powers make it impossible for them to do whatever they want. I mean, Shigaraki doesn't even have to be involved. He could just point from the back of a giant army. I see Shigaraki as it's just I'll get involved when I need to get involved type of situation with him. Yeah, he's really freaking powerful, but All For One didn't get involved until it got necessary for him to get involved. Same thing with All Might. There are characters that are really freaking powerful that only ever got involved when they needed to. Same thing with Superman in the DC comic. He only ever got involved when it was necessary. There are characters that you can only have involved only when it's freaking necessary. And so before, I still think they're going to make Deku that powerful.
They need to give him something to do, and if him just healing for 2 years or something is not interesting enough. And like I said, when he does come back, he'll be too much. I don't know. It's going to be hard to write a good story where he keeps his powers intact. We know the gun's in play. We know that the good guys have a way to reverse the gun's power. I mean, heck, Eri is probably going to not only heal Deku, but she'll probably heal Eraserhead's leg too. Eraserhead probably knew that when he cut his leg off that they've got Eri in their corner, and why wouldn't she heal Eraserhead? He's her savior and her teacher. So Eraserhead's leg is coming back more than likely, and Deku's arms are coming back more than likely, and the Million is already back, showing that he can be fully brought back, and it doesn't look like there's any downsides because they've been testing it on lizards and things like that, and they believe in it. And the power has to be used on an enemy. It could be used on Compressor, but that's not very interesting, and it could be used on Giganto Machina, which would be sort of bizarre because what would he even be after that? And the only one that really makes story sense is to use it on Todoroki. I mean, not Todoroki, on Shigaraki. There's no one else he's not going to use it on what is her name? The girl? She's not even around. He's not going to use it on her. He can't use it on Twice. Who's left to use it on? It's got to be used on a bad guy. Because
it's got to be used on. I guess I just don't see. I guess I just really don't see Shigaraki's power as such a giant wall that you can't progress through. Because like I was saying, it's not like Dabi's going to become the main villain that's going to end the serial. I'm just he's going to be the in between.
But Dabi can give them heroes something to do while Shigaraki recovers at the very least. But Shigaraki in his current form is world breaker. He's on a completely different level than anybody.
I just don't. So I understand all that. He needs a setback. I just don't understand. I just don't see his power being that big of a let's say before. I think it's enough for him for him to get beat up so badly. Him just laying in the background. Most villains end of game, end of story. Villains do that. They don't ever get involved. They're just in the background calculating. I mean, people infamously, Aizen's infamous for this from Bleach. The guy was overpowered, but he only ever got involved. Granted, I guess story-wise, he wasn't all that interesting of a character because he didn't get involved in much. He only was ever involved at the very beginning, and then he just disappeared, and he showed back up for the final fight with the main character.
Shigaraki's whole identity is that he wants to use his power unimpeded. He doesn't want to be a villain in the background. He's not like All For One, who wanted to be a background villain and a mastermind. He wants to be in the foreground, and he wants to be in action. And he wants to feel the decay with his hands and do it unimpeded. That's all he talks about. If it was All For One, I'd say sure, All For One could totally be a background character and was a background character for a really long time, despite his incredible power. He was looking for a successor, and he wanted to set up an army, and he was more like an Emperor Palpatine, where his goal was to claim power, not just personal power, but political power and things like that. Shigaraki should be a political leader. He understands the value of it now, but he had to be taught that. He understands it, he used it, but even then he has kind of like generals like helping him out. His general choices are not that great. Like if I was picking out generals, I'm not sure I would have picked Twice or Toga. I think Compressor's fine as a general. Spinner seems fine. Not very great, but like fine. Compressor's probably the best of his generals as far as actually being a general goes because he's smart. But like he didn't pick very intelligent choices for his generals. Like, he didn't pick effective leaders. He picked whoever was around.
I feel like he picked his friends because I mean, so far those seem to be the only people that like him.
But he could have kept them as like his guard or as like his people, you know, his advisors or something, and had someone that was more capable of running an army run the army. But he picked his friends. So like Toga is partially in charge of an army, and that's not, it doesn't play into her skills.
I mean, really, I'm trying to fight you on this, but like, I just don't see. I legitimately don't see a problem with him being so overpowered and he just not doing anything for a bit. Because, like, I mean,
Yeah.
Dabi is like he's just in between. I don't see.
Don't you think it's more interesting for him to have a setback on his powers where he's trying to reclaim them and then finish them, and he has the scientists helping him, and he has Dabi like sort of being a toxic asset or power, and the two of them can sort of be rivals because like Dabi retained his power while he's injured and like setback. Like he's definitely up task of taking Dabi if he needed to. And then Dabi and Hawks have a rivalry as Hawks gets healed or recovers, and like we have this whole like set of intrigue, but we still know that at the end of the day, Shigaraki is the one with the real potential. That Dabi's already mostly reached his potential, but Shigaraki is the one that's like got something to work towards and rebuild, and has only had a taste of what he could do. Because even Shigaraki didn't even come like full on. Like he's still got like a lot to go. Like he figured out his powers potential like while he was fighting everybody, and he didn't really get to use them fresh, you know what I mean? He was like, what's my powers like? And he had to fight and figure them out, and a lot of the beginning was just him trying to figure out what was going on, like who was doing what and everything else, and like he never really had his moment to shine. So it's going to make him even hungrier if he knows what it is and now he's got to reclaim it, especially if he knows that that wasn't even the full thing. We could have like a Cell Saga kind of situation where he's like, he started out really powerful and then he had to regress, and now he's trying to reclaim his power and go to his final perfect form. And I'm not saying that to drive you nuts because I know you hate Dragon Ball rep.
Man, my internet is like at least on like the
here.
Discord side is making you cut it. I am getting a red bar. Okay, hold up, I get green. I got full 3 bars. I heard most of it. Like what I will say, I guess, as we try to move on to the Dragon Prince here, because this is kind of my fault. But
do we want to move on to Dragon Prince? Or
it's that, man, that just died
we want to
right there.
So I will type it out. Hang on.
Wow. Discord, can you stop eating the internet? I mean, if you want to just end it with my hero, I mean that's fine. I mean, oh shoot. You can try talking now. I don't know what's going on in Discord.
I'm
Think
really enjoying Dragon Prince, and I'm really, really enjoying Dragon Prince, and I don't want to cheap on it. And if we have like bad audio and 27 minutes before midnight, which is always our like hard stop time, I don't see a reason to force it. We can do some really, really good content instead.
I don't know what's really
Did
going on
you
my
hear
internet because
all
I
of
would
that,
say
or
like honestly I would say like we could stop here for sure, but I'm just saying that it doesn't seem like my internet for just in general is screwing up. It's something going on with Discord. I had dropped some frames, like, but it was much earlier on during the thing, and it's smoothed out. For whatever reason, Discord, like, I don't know why. I'm at 3 green bars just right now, this second. Everything seems to be fine. I mean, yeah, we only got
I don't
30
know, dude.
minutes.
I prefer not to rush it because it's late now and we don't have a ton of time anyway. And I don't even know if you can hear me because every time I say something, there's like a long pause on your side.
No, I've been listening. I'm just trying to think the next word stuff, but I can hear you just fine. How many is it right? Yeah, it's like okay. I don't know how we're gonna do. Maybe if we just watch the rest of the Dragon Force episodes and just do a huge review of the entire show at that point. Hello.
What did you say?
I mean, I guess if we're gonna like wait, maybe just watch the rest of the episodes and just do like a huge review at the end of it at this point, because there's only so many episodes left. Because I've already watched episode 7. I know there's only 2 more I need to watch.
8 or 9. Let's catch up and then have like 1 or 2 episodes for a finale one. I'm also curious if you want to. There's a new Dragon Ball movie out. I don't know if you're interested in it, but I've been hearing really good things about it.
I've been waiting to get the DVD or find it somewhere online. I haven't seen it online at all yet.
Oh yeah, does Amazon have it for sale or anything?
No, actually, I've been needing to walk into a store. Actually, speaking of movies, I didn't bring this up, and I'm glad you reminded me. I have the My Hero movie, the 3rd one that came out. I bought the DVD actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, I've had it like for
that would be
a couple of weeks, but I keep forgetting to bring it up to you. At some point, we'd probably should go and watch that as well. I've been waiting.
I would do that totally.
I've been wanting to watch the Dragon Ball movie because I really do, because it's about gone. But I've been trying to find some place to watch it. It might actually just be available where I normally watch Dragon Prince. Hold up. Maybe it's there, and I've just been very blind to it because I've been waiting to see it show up, but I haven't seen it. What the? Yeah, that Crunchyroll might actually have it on there because they're releasing anime movies on here, but. Taking forever for this place though. I need to probably look this up when I have a chance later. I've been wanting to watch the movie, so the answer is yes. Hey, it's really quick. What were you talking? Oh yeah, that was my really weird stance on this whole Shake Rocket. Yeah, I think ultimately I just don't see the biggest problem. I mean, I don't. And for me, it's like him just having his powers get lost, only for him to removed from him, and then for him to get it back. It's like, do you really need to see that again? Get his powers back? I almost would rather just show him just fading into the background. And if it does result in him becoming a hungry power, to me, it probably become a funnier character to watch. Just try to dismantle everything.
Yeah.
And even then, I mean, if they did remove him, like I said before, I'm not gonna sit there and say that I'd be upset if they removed his powers. to me, his powers aren't that big of a deal. Right now, anyway, considering that how badly he is beat up, because he has had a really bad day. But
Yeah.
to me, it's like, okay, he's this beat up. To me, he's this, like, from what I can tell, it seems like to me like it won't be like a week rest for him. You know, he'll probably gone for a while, and even that, I still feel like he's still capable of learning. I feel like to me, it's like, okay, he might
But he
just
has
wait.
regeneration quirk.
Doesn't seem like it's working for him that much right now.
Because he was pounded on by every single hero in the world, and was beaten partially while his quirks were turned off. He
That
said,
shouldn't
"I'm
matter.
taking
The moment
damage
that
faster than
if it was turned back on, it should have immediately helped him recover, but it didn't.
No, regeneration quirks have all sorts of scale. Like, there's a lot of heroes with regeneration quirks in superhero world that like you don't even know they have it. Superman has a regeneration ability. Like, there's a lot of superheroes that have like some level of regeneration ability that where it's not obvious that they have it. It's that everybody's not Wolverine, you know.
I'm not even thinking about. I'm just saying that, like, to me, it's like I feel like you're not wrong. I just for me, it's like I feel like them removing his quirk just for him to get it back. It's like if that. I guess I have an issue with, you know, and I guess it just goes on a Bleach. I just don't like them removing somebody's powers just for them to get it back because it irks me to no end. And I think back to Bleach, the main character from that show had his powers taken every arc. It was ridiculous. It was annoying to me. It got so bad that one of the arcs that he was trying to get his powers back, it gave me a headache just trying to read it. So it was just like, to me, it's like I'm probably just opposed to it because I just don't want to go through. I don't want to get to the point that they're going to do this to him, and if they do that to him, I'm afraid of getting a headache and dropping it.
The problem is that Aerie is almost too powerful to be on the good guy's side. Like, she can instant heal right now, is from what we can tell. So like, Aerie and Shigaraki should be the Starcross 2 that like are like in there. Like, if Shigaraki wins, then he gets Aerie and he gets his power back. That's not like, it's not like out of nowhere. It's like a perfect setup. Like, it's the logical like continuation of their story for him to need Aerie for something other than like quirk deletion. Quirk deletion is just handy. Like, if he retains his quirk, he doesn't need quirk deletion. He can disintegrate people with a touch. So his real, like, the real story to be had there would be that like the heroes have this like magic touch hero now that like, I mean, her horn shrinks when she uses her power too much, so it's not unlimited healing. But if it's someone loses a leg or has their arms disabled because they overuse them, she could probably, or you know, has their quirk deleted, she could probably bring them back. To some extent, she can be really useful. So she's not like infinite healing, but she's big time, like more powerful than any healer or restorative ability that we've seen in the show so far. This isn't like somebody with a water power, like helping someone keep their eyes open. Like, this is like straight on, like, heal anything, you know? We already know that like it can be used with Midoriya to keep him from like damaging himself from his quirk by reversing the damage, because that's how he was able to go all out in the previous arc. Shigaraki would badly need her, and he would have still a network of supervillains. Like, the whole, not all of the supervillains are dead. You know what I mean? There's going to be some that made it out of there. There's going to be some that like held their own, because as far as I can tell, the fighting's still going on, you know, back at their base. So there's going to be like people that make it out of there, like Redestro, for example, is probably going to make it. And that would be a really obvious next line. So I don't know why not.
I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I'm just saying that to me, it is like I have a bad history with people, like characters losing powers and going back. I mean, it's just one character, but it literally made me quit the trying to read or catch up with it because it just got too confusing. I feel like they could do the same thing here, even if it's just airy. Maybe there's a different route they could go with that. I don't know. It's just like, to me, it's like it made me quit it made me quit something that I was actually enjoying because I got a headache trying to understand it. And I don't think that his powers is that big of a freaking wall as you do, apparently. And I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm just saying that, yeah, I feel like there's another way they can do that without him losing his quirk. I feel like they just gotta put him in the background. Have it like if there's maybe like during the situation he does something else stupid that like maybe gives him a not a permanent, you know, uh, disability, but something that like takes time for him to get over, possibly. I don't think it is this necessarily to cripple him quirk wise, like his most powerful quirk anyway. And there's no telling if they do delete, if they do use the deleter round, if the deleter round is going to delete the quirk they're trying to delete. He's got multiple quirks anyway. All that deleter round will do maybe is if it does delete a quirk, it might not delete the decay. It might just delete the regeneration.
Yeah.
I mean, I just literally thought about that. I literally pulled that out of my ass. So I mean, as before I say, I'm not saying what you're saying isn't realistic. I'm just saying that to me, I don't see his decaying quirk as that big of a wall. I think he's smarter than that. I feel like he would like wait. He's already waited this long to get to this point. What's another like few months at this point for him? I would think.
But what would he be waiting for other than to heal with a healing quirk, which is not going to take a few months?
Maybe get his master out.
A lot of damage to outpace his healing quirk in the first place. Like, and it took nullifying his healing quirk and then piling on damage.
Did they really Did they really hurt him so much more that his healing quirk couldn't work? I thought it was just because they stopped his healing quirk from working.
It was like they couldn't do enough damage to outpace his healing quirk, and then when he finally when they nullified it, they finally were able to do enough damage that when his healing quirk turned back on, they could keep it up. Like, you couldn't keep up the pace he had when he was full power anymore, and then they were able to like do some damage to him and outpace his healing quirk because his body was so wounded anyway, and then he passed out. But like, this is not like, unless like he's had some sort of permanent burnout damage or something, which I'm not going to say is not impossible, but barring that, like, he's like, he shouldn't take very long to heal. We're not talking months, we're talking like maybe a week.
I mean, with that lie, he should have been healing like during all this situation. I haven't seen anything that looked like he was healing though. To me, I don't think his healing quirk is probably it probably not saying it maxed out or it's maxing out. I'm just saying that to me, it's like if it would have weak, he should have been actually been healing as this has been going on, but he hasn't been from the way it looks. And also, Eraserhead's out for the count, so Eraserhead isn't even looking at it anymore. All of his quirks should be fully activated at this point.
Right, but if you're like, if your quirk is working to heal the damage that was already done to you while the quirk wasn't working, then like it's got some work to do. And if you're piling on damage on top of that, and you're slowed down because you're damaged, you know what I mean, and not fighting at full potential, and more people are coming in to fight you, and someone's using a plus ultra like final flash move on you, like, it does stand to reason that you'd be down for a little bit. You know what I mean? You wouldn't just be like, ha ha, and then you're back up. Like, you couldn't heal fast enough because you'd already taken damage, and you just like couldn't get your feet on the ground again. But the next time he fights, he's going to have a better idea of what his powers were. He's going to be more self-actualized because he was able to push away One for All, you know what I mean, and have that like psychic victory there. He will have a better hold on Gigantomachina because he'll know where the person is and things like that. He'll have a better idea of the limits of his quirks, which he's sort of discovered because he thought he was pacing himself like he had unlimited power, like he was supposed to. It took him a while to even realize that his like healing wasn't like his transformation wasn't complete, so he wasn't pacing himself. Now he knows he has limitations and can take them into consideration. Like, he should be very significantly stronger if he's allowed a full recovery, like, partially because he understands himself and partially because like his powers were still sort of being unlocked, and partially because of his psychic ability. There's just not like, I don't think they can handle it. I think that they wouldn't have. I think they just lucked out in getting as far as they did with him in the first place.
I mean, no, I get all that. I guess again, like I don't see that big of a barrier. We'll see what they do. I mean, if they, like I said, I'm not gonna be angry if they give us correct, but I'm just saying, like right now, they better not give me a freaking headache trying to like get it back, because I will drop out. That is like that. That would literally be what would like me stop. Because like I don't need I don't need to be reading something I find fun. Well, not reading, watching something I find fun as I'm trying to figure out what's going on there, and they give me an actual migraine trying to do that.
Yeah, I just think I think there's a lot of payoff to be had in the story taking that route right now. Because otherwise, why do we have Aerie right now? Why is Aerie still around? Why do we have all this stuff going on? The pieces are set up for the future.
I don't think they need to get rid of his character. I mean, honestly, I feel like there's multiple avenues for everything. I don't think they need to get rid of. Maybe he's knocked out for a bit. I mean, there's a possibility he's in a coma.
Try to put him in like that suspension chamber, like, or whatever, the back to tank thing that like he was in the first place. They could try to put him back in that and put him down, but like, I just don't know. I don't know if that's. I don't even know if they know how to do that. Like the scientists made that thing, not them.
The scientist is still around. I mean.
Yeah, but would you trust him to do it? You know what I mean? Okay, listen, don't complete his ultimate power. Like that was your life mission.
I mean, if they were to if they were able to get Spinner could possibly separate the scientist from President Mike. Who the heck knows?
The scientist is gonna come out of there and kill them all with a box of scraps. You know, the scientist is gonna become Iron Man or Egghead. He's gonna become Egghead. If they put him in a room with a bunch of equipment and tell him to make something.
I don't know. I guess my final stance, I just don't see his work, the power he's at, as that big of an obstacle, because I know what they're going to do a decade later. Well, I don't know. I mean, if the story, if logic for the anime, for shonen follows, is that usually the main character usually catches up really quickly. Like, at near the end of the dang series at this point. So it's like, to me, it's like, okay, keep him in the background, do something that makes sense for him to be waiting for, and like just don't have him involved again for a long while. If they don't want to show him at all, just say that he's doing something off someplace else, he's got some other mission or whatever. I don't know. Make a movie where he's involved. I had no idea. Again, like I said, I'm not gonna be mad if they. I'm just gonna hope that like whatever they do, if it is really simple as them trying to get Aerie, okay, fine. That won't give me a headache. I'm just afraid whatever they do might give me a headache trying to watch it. And I really am afraid of that. Like I always said, like if whatever I'm having fun with, stresses me out that much, I don't need to be involved in it anymore. I don't want that realization to happen with this show.
Yeah.
Because I was really enjoying Bleach, and then that happened, and I just said, you know what? I'm done. That was like. Actually, that was back in college, so that's been like 10 plus years now. Dang it. I guess with that, we're gonna end the podcast here. Thank you guys for watching. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the Dragon Prince. We'll figure out what to do with Dragon Prince if that's just like one good old like podcast where we just talk about every episode that we haven't talked about in one climactic final bash. Probably do that, but we'll see. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.
One cool thing about Dragon Prince that I didn't want to forget to mention, because I think I didn't mention it last time. Did we talk about the fact that in the opening scene on episode 4, they had Callum turn into the statue instead of Viren?
No, but I did see that.
It's interesting because in the next episode, it's Viren again, but for that one episode, they had Callum turn into the statue.
I think one of the beginnings they had Rayla turn the statue.
Did they?
I think.
And in episode 5, it's Viren again. In episode 6, It's Viren again. I haven't looked at 7 yet, I don't think.
No, it's not there. I thought it was before. Okay, maybe I imagined it. I thought I saw Ray get there. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it was Callum. You know, I just saw him as
I
mistaken.
have
Okay.
seen 7, and it's Viren again in 7. I'll go back to the earlier ones, but I doubt it's going to be in the earlier ones. Anyone but Viren. It's just interesting little detail that I've started watching. Yeah, one is Viren. I've started watching the other episodes because I think it's really interesting. Like to see the little nuances, changes, even in the opening and closing sequences sometimes.